Hello and welcome to the Leveraging AI podcast, the podcast that shares practical, ethical ways to leverage AI to improve efficiency, grow your business, and advance your career. And we have an absolutely awesome episode for you today. I talk to people and I ask them what they're trying to do with AI, it usually falls into one of three categories. One is saving time, so getting efficiencies. The other is making money. And the third one is being able to get focus or get a specific goal in the most effective way. These are usually the three big categories of why people want to use AI. And in today's episode, we're going to show you an example for each of those things. So, how to make more money, how to save time, and how to get more focus on specific tasks, including showing you exactly how to develop agents, including the prompting, the data that goes behind them, and all the flow that has to happen in order for you to replicate similar workflows so you can do the same thing, either make money or save time or get more focus on a specific goal you're trying to achieve. Now, to guide us through this process, we have an amazing guest, Sabahudin Murtic, who is the co-founder of Nomad Visionaries Group. And it's an agency that helps founders connect with the right audiences on LinkedIn in order to drive business. And they do, as you can imagine, a lot of work with AI across everything that he's doing. Now, in addition, he is a certified partner of Relay, which is one of the leading apps to create automations and agents. And he's going to show us today exactly how to use this platform to do really magical stuff. He's going to share with us specific use cases that he's actually using in his agency. So this is not like a made up kind of like use case. This is the real deal. And he's been gracious enough to actually show us behind the scenes. So everything that he's doing, you'll be able to see and you'll be able to copy and paste and do it yourself. And that's why this is very, very exciting, because this is actual blueprints for actual use cases that you can then use on your own to do similar things in your business. In addition, it will be a lot of great best practices, even if you're not using Relay, but using other solutions. You can learn a lot from this episode. And so I'm sure you're as excited as I am to welcome Sabahudin to the show. Sabahudin, welcome to Leveraging AI.
Hey, Isar, thank you for having me, and I'm super excited to show my process. And with that said, let's kick off.
Yeah, let's dive right in.
Yeah, let me share the screen. Just a second.
Yeah, no worries. For those of you, by the way, who are driving or doing something in which you cannot look at the screen, we will explain everything that's on the screen and walk you through what's happening. But if you do want to watch what we're doing, then you can definitely go ahead and watch this on YouTube or on Spotify or wherever it is that you can watch videos. You can consume the same thing.
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I make some additional effort here. Do you see yourself? Okay, I wanted to make it custom made, so yeah, let's kick off.
Yeah. Those of you who can't see it, there's both of us with like overlay of like funny low pixel sunglasses on top of us.
Yeah. Okay, I try to be unique. I think it's the first impressions really matter. So
It does. I love it.
Okay, so three things the audience can walk away after this podcast is how to approach AI implementation from three different perspectives, which will give you clarity on how to build, how to price your service, or maybe when you are paying for automation services as well. Practical knowledge, how to implement three workflows I will share with you, including all templates from the Relay app, all the prompts, and all the documentation I will share with you after this podcast, Isar, so we can share to the audience. And yeah, so for every workflow that we will discuss today.
Fantastic.
So you said at the beginning of this podcast is how we're going to measure the AI value. And the way how I measure AI value is through three things: time, money, and focus. So when I start building something, when it comes to the time, I ask my few questions, if this is going to save me a time, right? How much time I'm spending to one particular thing every day. And combining that, I realize the true value of AI implementation once I start building. At the same time, for example, when I'm selling the AI services to the specific person, I don't charge per hour, I charge per project. And then if we implement something, then when it comes to the saving time, right? So we do the simple math. So for example, let's say you are wasting 2 hours, 3 hours per day on how to generate a proposal. If you multiply that with 365 days, then you get exact amount, how much time you are losing, right? At the same time, you can start asking yourself, imagine if you have that time, how you can invest in something that matters, right? So that's where the value, show up on surface. And then, it make more sense to that person to buy my services. So it's a reasonable decision. It's the same thing with the money. So when I'm approaching to build something that can generate me more money, I start realizing and going back and ask myself simple questions like where I'm losing currently the money, how I can improve my cash flow. Is there anything that I should, improve to reach my target audience, etc. If that is the answer, I start building from there. It's the same ad for somebody, again, who is buying the services. Is basically, we ask, again, simple question like how much is costing you right now, right? And then imagine how much you're going to earn for next year. If you solve this problem, then I take 10% of that. So for example, if you are losing 10,000 per year for this specific task, I will charge you $1,000, which is totally reasonable price. If I don't mention that, then I'm going to have, handle objection, or it's going to be too expensive, etc. If I set clear expectation to the person, it makes more sense to buy the product. Focus. So both of these matters into the terms of focus. So if you have more time, if you have more money, you're going to get more focus, right? So in today's session, I try to cover one workflow that's saving our time, one workflow that's trying to increase some money, and the one workflow that combine all of these three together: money, time, and focus. Fantastic. So that was my main idea of this.
Yeah, I will say something about this. Like even for the people who work in companies and do not do this as an agency and not trying to make money from doing this, it works exactly the same thing inside your business, right? You can save time and then use that time for other things. You can use more money, so you can drive additional business by building different AI solutions. You'll see in a minute a great example. Or you can free yourself to have more focus on specific other things you're trying to achieve for bigger goals, strategies, whatever it is you want to do for the company. And so all of this applies even if you're not in an agency selling this and you're just doing this internally inside your company.
Cool. I agree with that. So when it comes to the time, I'm going to show how I write my newsletter using a newsletter repurposing system. This is just a quick snapshot of the workflow and what I get. So we're going to go deeper into that. When it comes to the increasing more money, I'm going to share with you intent-based prospecting, how you can find the leads from your competitors or from something you post, right? And then qualify them according to your ICP criteria. When it comes to all three together, money, focus, and time, I'm going to share lead qualification and research for somebody who book a call with us. And I'm going to share the full funnel. With that said, after this episode, I'm going to share all of these resources, as you can see here, for each of these workflows. So the first system we're going to cover today is video to newsletter repurposing system. In this system, I use Tela video recording tool, which is something similar to Loom, which is a bit more better features. And I use the transcript to repurpose it into the newsletter. Now, how I lose a lot of money is basically the way how I write a newsletter is basically I wanted to try to connect my own story from my own life with something that is related to the business in that current moment. So it was really hard for me to combine together and find a bridge. So the main idea of this workflow is to take my story from my story doc, which is real, something from my childhood, high school, doesn't matter, and take the transcript from the video recording, which is related to the business, and find a bridge that makes sense. Because every newsletter edition I start, I open with a story, because storytelling is something that connects with the people and it creates way more conversion through my newsletter. So the workflow goes super simple. It grabs my transcript from specific playlist. Now, here's the really good thing with the Tela. They have specific playlists, and whenever I record a video, it's not triggering immediately. It's triggered when I put that to the playlist. That way I have way more control, to start creating different angles. I can even change a trigger here, but that is the main idea.
Just to pause for a second, for those of you who are not familiar with all these automation platforms, and it doesn't matter whether you're using Relay or Zapier or Make or NA10 or any of these or Relevance, the way it works, there's a trigger, something that launches the process, the automation to work. In this particular case, is when a specific recording is dropped into a specific playlist on a video recording platform, right? So you can record as many videos as you want, nothing happens, but when you place the video inside a specific playlist, that triggers the automation, and it basically tells it, okay, there's a new video, go and run the automation on it. That's basically what the first step is doing.
Yeah, great explanation. By the way, this is valuable because you have control how you're going to spend your credits or whatever it is, whatever your platform you use. Imagine if you trigger for each video. So this makes more sense when you put
huge waste of money.
Yes. And a lot of video is going to be recorded for 1 or 2 or 5 times. Yeah. Cool. Now, once we have the trigger, the next step is to find the story into my story doc. So as you can see, this is the run preview here, what we are watching. So it goes and finds the primary recommendation and backup options for my 3 stories he finds. And then he gave me the reasoning explanation why he used that story, because in the prompt itself, if I come back to the editor, in the prompt itself, it is always important to first analyze the context file and the transcript itself. So the idea here is basically, I record a video about the business, and then AI goes, take the context of that transcript and go and move to the story doc to see which story is the perfect match with this current topic I'm recording.
I want to pause you for a second. The story doc is basically you sit down and, I assume, transcribed and told stories from your life, like personal experiences.
What I do is to have more focus. I have normal diary, and every day I write 1 story. Once I finish, I do the screen recording snapshot with camera and move it to the AI, and then just take that text and move it to the story doc. Maybe it's a little bit.
The story doc is just a document in like a Google Drive, right?
Exactly, Google Doc.
Yeah.
Awesome. So this way, I try to move all these distractions when I'm writing the stories, because those stories needs to be real, because I want to be real online. That was my always goal. I don't want to fake it, and my stories are the best way how I can keep it real.
Yeah.
So if we go through the prompt, the role is basically to, in this case, for the new story angle, is to be the newsletter angle architect for Sabahudin Systems, which is the name of my newsletter, and analyze the video transcript and find the perfect story angle in my story doc, transform technical content into the emotional, engaging newsletter. Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to talk about only technical stuff, I'm going to be boring. If I talk about myself, how that reflects to my life, it makes more sense to somebody to read my newsletter. We have story doc, we have newsletter framework, we have tone of voice as well. And then it takes the transcript, and then it goes and find the best story match. And now I put him some matching criteria here. Emotional resonance, does the story feel like the lesson? Thematic alignment, do they share a core principle? Unexpected connection, can you bridge them? This is really important. Can you bridge them in surprising way? Authenticity, would Sabahudin naturally tell this story here? And freshness, avoiding overuse the same 3-4 stories. So I don't want to always share the same stories. Of course, sometimes I'm not consistent to write everyday new story, but again, I have 10. If I have 10 in story doc, that's enough for me, because I record 1 or 2 videos per week and publish 1 newsletter edition. Now these are generate angle, etc., etc. Now the main idea here is basically, once they want to apply this to their self, they should write their own story deck.
Yeah.
They should use that writing to take the tone of voice file, and then just take my prompt and put it inside of the AI and tell AI, okay, here's my story doc, here's how I write. I wanted to change this prompt to be adjusted to myself.
Yeah.
So that was the main idea. And I came up with this prompt by talking to AI a lot, with a lot of context, back and forth, telling him who I am, the good thing is that they have the memory. In this case, I use Claude. So Claude knows a lot of things about me. I previously shared all the stories, and then we came up together with this prompt. Of course, the best prompt engineer is AI. I never gonna came up with this, to be real, and all of us.
So for those of you, again, who haven't done this, if you want AI to write great prompts for you, you need to give it great context. In this particular case, Sabahudin is talking about his personal experiences. So he taught Claude his personal experiences, basically give it the context in this particular case about him as a person, and then explain, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to connect my personal stories to specific business processes that I'm sharing. I need you to help me write a prompt that will enable me to do this in an effective and authentic way. And then you go back and forth a few times, and then you get a really long, very detailed prompt that, as Sabahudin said, you cannot write on your own. This is like a 4-page prompt that is very, very detailed.
Yes.
That actually does the work. And it's usually not on the first shot. Like on the first shot, it's going to be okay. And then you go back and forth and give it a little bit of feedback and run it a few times. And you learn what's not working and you give it additional information, and slowly you develop it to the point that it is working consistently every single time. Awesome. So what's the next step? So this just finds the right story and makes the right connection.
Exactly. By the way, this is the hardest part in this workflow. When you are building the things, it's good to connect the steps to know what's your end outcome, but to engineer the AI outputs, you just need to put a lot of efforts with the quality prompt and quality context. Now, the next step is to write a newsletter edition. Now we have here, newsletter examples and narrative. We have tone of voice and writing style, newsletter framework. We have the transcript, and we have the story. So here's all the knowledge he using it. And then we have the brain prompt that connects all of these files into the one newsletter edition. It came up with the output, which is the subject line and the newsletter content. In this case, I used Model Cloud Sonnet 4.5, which I highly recommend for anyone when it comes to writing. And I connected directly with my API key, so I don't need to spend relay app credits, so I can have more control.
So again, a few explanations of what Sabahudin just said. One is, for every one of these steps, and basically in any agent that you build, you're going to have a prompt, you're going to have a goal. In this particular case is, I want you to come up with a subject line and the newsletter content, and you're going to have the supporting documents or knowledge or context, which in this case is all the stuff that Sabahudin mentioned previously, with the most important one being the examples and the narrative, so it knows what the structure is, how it looks like, what are the different components that go into it, so all the newsletters look and feel from the same brand, from the same source. So this is one thing I want to add. The other thing that I want to add is what Sabahudin just mentioned in the end, which in most of these platforms, you have two options. You can run on their own credits, meaning they're going to charge you their credits, which means they're going to use whatever AI tool they want in the back end, and they're going to take an arbitrage on top of it. So let's say instead of paying 20 cents for a million tokens, you're going to pay 30 cents because that's how they make more money. But in most of these tools, and Relay is one of them, you can connect your own API key. You can go to Claude, you can go to ChatGPT, you can go to Gemini, you can go to whatever you want, get an API key, put your API key there, and then you're paying the raw value that you would have paid for the actual model based on the tokens they charge, which means you're spending less money every time you're running this compared to just running it under the regular Relay tokens. And the same thing is true in most of these platforms. They work in a very similar way.
Yeah, I mean, you need to, in case you're going to use this automation every week, I think you need to consider that reduced cost, definitely.
100%.
So one thing I'm going to mention, which is interesting in this prompt, which I didn't see a lot, is basically I put philosophy. So I tell AI, like, the transcript is already human. This is the way how I talk. So you don't need to like reinvent new tone of voice, style, etc. You just need to preserve it while, like, no add to personality, because this is the way how I speak. And that's the reason why I use the transcript to, repurpose into the content, because I believe that transcript is the most valuable asset in the age of AI.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to bother too much with the prompts. They're going to have to access and read it, etc. But that was the main goal here, to write a newsletter edition by combining all of these inputs here. The next step is basically just want to be sure that it doesn't have AI fluff. I use this prompt to humanize it as much as possible. and avoid any cliches, any generalization, any hashtags, markdown, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
So those of
And
you who
this.
don't see the screen, there's basically do's and don'ts. You should do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you should avoid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like a lot of stuff that AI does that you don't want it to do, you can prevent it from doing just by asking.
Yeah. I mean, look, in most of the cases, because the prompt is really good and the knowledge base is really good, it has 80%, but why not to, reduce that reviewing time with this prompt as well? So I put additional step. The next step is to generate simple infographic that explain this whole newsletter edition and move that to my newsletter system in my Notion.
And
So in the
to
Notion,
explain to people the image part of it or the infographics, this is just sending a prompt that I'm sure is auto-generated based on the actual newsletter, that then sends it to Gemini Nano Banana, that generates it through, again, an API. So you can then go and grab and the way it works, you send it to the API and you get back a link of where the graphics is going to be. And then in whatever automation tool you're using, you can go and grab the graphics from the link to place it wherever you want to place it. And so again, the same process works in all these tools. You can send a prompt for an image generation tool, whichever one you like. Nano Banana is a great option because it's cheap and it generates great results. You get a link and then you can grab the image and put it wherever you want to put it.
Yeah, so this is the one of the examples. It's on the branding, on my colors. It explained exact edition what I'm doing here, and the topic was how to use Nano Banana for infographics and why it's important. Yeah, the funny thing that was the topic.
Yeah.
And why is important, to visualize what you write. So this is like, and this is also funny thing he captured because I go into high school as architectural. So the story was like, if I show you the final output here, the story was about me in high school, how I charge for architectural projects, my classmates, and they ask me always, can you draw this architectural project for me? I'm not thinking about design. I'm thinking about make it clean, make it clear, make it fast. I sketch it quickly. He pays me word spread. More classmates show up with the project, same process every time. And now I take a bridge here. That's the reason how I write. Like now, that's not about the talent. Your best content is already written, LinkedIn post, DM conversation, which is related to my topic. But if people can't skim it, it's either 0.3 seconds and you lose them. So that was the main idea how I can connect my story. And then I go with the main topic. I want to show you my favorite so far is this one's so crazy when I was testing out. Yeah, so look this. I use a story from my raving period when I was young. And the story was about how DJ doesn't feel the audience and play bad music. If you see that audience don't like that music, bro, you need to change something. You need to communicate with the audience. So that was the same thing with the DMs. So like the subject line was like the DJ trick that fixed my DMs. Like, what the fuck? So people will click, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
it's a good hook.
Exactly. So here's a quick intro. Like we throwing the parties, trying to make night pop, learn something fast. You can't force the vibe. If the crowd is tired, you don't play it hard techno. If they are bouncing, you don't slow it down. You watch, you listen, then you move. That's the reading move. And now here's the bridge. Most people treat LinkedIn DMs like a bad DJ. And now goes to the main topic.
That's awesome.
So that was the whole story of this newsletter.
Yeah, and by the way, what you see here, you see how good AI is at doing these things, on taking two things, and one of the things make an interesting, unexpected connection. This is an interesting, unexpected connection, right? You get from being a DJ when you're in your teens to writing LinkedIn direct messages, and yet the AI finds a way to make this interesting, and it makes a very good post.
Exactly. My biggest problem here, where I was losing a lot of time, is connecting my real story with the business. First thing first, to give you some context, I'm only 2 years in business, maybe 2.5, like I'm running my own business.
Yeah.
Previously, I was in corporate life and I didn't have enough experience. Now, once I get the output from the AI that connects with my transcript, I can get relaxed. I can write my story, whatever it is, go random. I know the AI will find the bridge with the current topic.
Fantastic.
Cool. So this was the first workflow that we cover today. Now the next workflow is intent-based prospecting. Now we are talking about how you can make additional money. Here, the main idea is it's not to really go on AI and think that AI is going to find the leads. You need to understand the intent of people who make some things on social media. Let's take LinkedIn, for example. So if your competitor posting about the topic that is core part of your offer, right? For example, if they're talking about outreach, for example, you should go scrape those leads, right? Because those leads already show the intent about that topic. They are problem aware or solution aware, or they are too desperate, which means once you qualify them through this workflow, for you, it's way more easier to reach out because you know they had the problem. You just need to stand out. Yeah. So that was the main idea of this. Basically, you should, go find your best post from yourself that talk about your offer. Where you are promoting, let's say, bottom of the funnel. You're talking about main offer, how you're solving that. Boom, take that post, scrape the leads, qualify them, reach out them. You can go with the competitors. You can go with LinkedIn events. You can do from the company's page, etc., etc. You just follow the intent. That's the main idea. The workflow is pretty simple. You implement the LinkedIn post here. Then you put your ICP definition here. Then you find 50 comments, or I don't know, you can put 100 with the relay. That's the limitation. Then you can remove the duplicates. People, this is the step where people, I don't know, commenting and liking at the same time. You don't want to have them both.
Yep.
Then it goes and do the 50 times loops, qualify lead checking. So for example, for each person goes and check if this person is the fit or not, an explanation of that fit.
And again, just to give a little more context on how that works, right? So when you define the ICP, you say they're in roles of either CEO, COO, or VP of sales. Doesn't matter. You define whatever you want. And then which industries do you want them to be in that will be relevant to your target audience? And then where are they in the world? Like when I do this process for my company, I only look for people in North America and Europe. Why? Because of time zone and language. Like if they're in South America, the time zone works, but I can't speak Spanish. And if they are in Southeast Asia, well, the time zone is going to be a problem, even if they do speak English. And so it's you just define your ICP. I sometimes go into a very, very long, detailed discussion of exactly the roles and exactly the industries and exactly examples of companies that I'm looking for and stuff like that. But then you got to remember what information is available and not available on LinkedIn. So what it can know from LinkedIn, it can know the size of the company, it can know where they are in the world, it can know their history, and it can know, their current role. That's about it. So it doesn't know much more than that. Now, yes, you can use other third-party tools to go and scrape from other sources, but usually this is enough to give you a very solid starting point.
Exactly. I'm glad you mentioned that point, because you need to think about your ICP criteria with the available LinkedIn information, because that's how AI will take fit, right? If it's not relevant, if enough relevant information, then it's not going to give you the good output. So you can play around with your ICP. You can add any additional information that it is available on LinkedIn and put it here. In this case, I use this one. And then it goes and move them all to the Google Sheet. And then you have all the leads here. And then you can just put it here, filter. I don't know, you can just put it yes, like simple sheet, and these are your qualified leads according to your criteria. Now, what you can eventually do here is basically you can maybe add one more step, is to write personalized DMs for each of these leads that is qualified. That's the optional step. Sometimes, I don't know, the way how I automate the first step is for the new business development connections is I go in deep in find the 5 campaigns and then brainstorm about industry problems, fears, frustration to find that first automate message that makes sense. But in this case, you can put it into another level. But most of the cases, you will not going to find a lot of ICPs. So I think it's way more better to approach manually each person, because definitely going to have better reply. One quick tip here, what I do eventually is how I open the conversation is basically I introduce myself, tell them welcome to my network, and I have free stuff I can share, and I share free stuff regarding to my services. So I can build that trust and then nurture that conversation to book a call, especially if my free resource is really great and my overall positioning this year what is around value-based outreach, AI services and automations. I would like to build as much as possible lead magnets, personalized lead magnets for specific audience to reach out them, impress them, and then nurture those conversations.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I'll add one more thing about the personalized messages and the way you can do this. If you think about it, the way this works is it actually now knows the person, right? It knows the person because it did the research and it knows who they are, what's the role, and how many years they've been in that role. But it also knows if they commented, what they commented on, and what was their actual comment. And you can use that when you write the DM and basically say, hey, I saw you commented on this and that post. I loved what you commented. It connects very well to whatever. And now, if you kind of like want to connect this to what we did previously, you can give it more data of your personal stories or things your company do or whatever, and then make the connection that way. So again, we already established that AI knows how to make these connections. If you give it, here's kind of things that we have for free, and here is, and by the way, the way I do this is with podcast episodes. Oh, I saw that you commented on something that has to do with sales automation. I have a podcast. It's been running for 3 years. I've done multiple episodes about sales automations in AI. Go and check out episodes 157, 203, and 222. And now people have, this is awesome. This is exactly what I want to know. And I know that because that's what they commented. And I'm not selling them anything, but then they go and they find free content and they understand who I am and what value I provide. And then they reach out to me when they're ready to actually do business. So this concept of knowing what people are interested in based on what they comment on or like and so on, and connecting it to free stuff in your universe is an incredibly effective way. And as we mentioned, AI is really good at doing this because it knows how to connect the dots in a very simple way. I will add one more thing to what Sabahudin said as far as doing this manually. I do this quasi manually as well, me and my team. And the reason for that is you can get in trouble with LinkedIn for automatically posting stuff. And yes, the tools are supposed to help you go around their checkers. I got slapped on the wrist twice. The second time basically said, this is strike 2. If you get to strike 3, you're out of LinkedIn, which is not a punishment I'm willing to take. So,
Yes.
so I stopped all my
It's not
automations
worth it.
and I'm doing all the DMs manually. And so you can do whatever you want. I'm not telling you not to do this automatically. I'm just kind of telling you, in addition to actually seeing what the AI writes and then adding your 2 cents or verifying, you're also reducing the risk of getting banned from LinkedIn, which if a lot of the business you're getting is from LinkedIn, is unacceptable.
Yeah, great points here. What I can add on top of this is what I learned from all the outreach campaigns is I never mention anymore the signals. I saw you comment this, I saw you that, because people think that is the AI, even if I write it that manually. Like,
Yeah.
because a lot of people use the automations, backends, create the leads, find the signal, and then mention the signal in the first message.
Yeah.
I have a bad experience with that. What I do eventually is, for example, if you talk about their content, I can say in general how I like their content, not specific content. And I love the direction they go. And then I can add something on top of that as a type of that
Interesting.
value-based.
Good
So
point.
that was a lot of testing because now market is shifting fast. A lot of people start getting pitched and they think, you automate the message. Okay. Do you have any more additional questions regarding to this workflow? I think it's
No,
pretty
let's go to the
straightforward.
third one. I think this is great and straightforward and very clear. And again, since you're providing the actual templates to the audience, they can go and check out the details on their own if they're interested.
Exactly. I mean, the main point here is to find your intent that AI cannot find. So as I mentioned in the beginning, because if you run this randomly, that this workflow doesn't make a sense. So you should track your competitors and you can track your own content where you're publishing, promoting your offer. So that is really important to mention. Cool. Now the next workflow is our form submission that is on our website. So in this case, I tested on you. The reason why it failed at the end to create a record on the HubSpot was because I put my email and I already have a lot of testing with my email, so immediately HubSpot cannot find it. But let's go and see. So for example, the form itself. Let me show the form. This is really important to make it clear. So because from the form, So you have basic information here. I take the LinkedIn profile URL so I can scrape additional context. I take the company website so I can take additional context. Now I put
By the
the
way,
three
again, for people to
problems.
understand, is this when people are on your website and they want to connect with you and they fill out the form to either book a meeting or as a starting point for a business conversation?
Exactly. So they fill up the form, they go to the thank you page, and then from the thank you page, they have the booking link to book a call with me, and they have one case study from my client, and they have my story how I start this.
Okay.
So everything, so they can more be connected with me before the call. But here I also take what is the three core problems for our agency, which is the profile, messaging, and positioning. Not enough authority on LinkedIn, or the outreach gets ignored, or something else. What success look like in 90 days? If you need to describe in one sentence what you're selling, what would that be? Because a lot of people complicate the
Yeah.
stuff. They put, um, you know,
Their entire life story.
and what's your target?
Yeah.
Exactly. And here's also really important. Are you ready to make a premium investment? Yes, I'm aware of this. This is really good qualification criteria for us. If they put yes, okay, this person have a money, it's worth of our call. If they don't put it, we can follow up them with a message. Hey, this service costs this, that. Are you aware of that? If not, I can send you something for free because I wanted to save my time as well.
Yeah. I will say
So
something else
once
about this
once we
form
have
that is very important in the AI era. Historically, forms used to be either multiple choice or drop-down menus or stuff like that because it was the easiest way to understand what's going on. But you lose a lot of context. You don't really know the details about your potential client because they have no way to tell you. They have to select something, and then they select something that is roughly what they mean and not exactly what it is. And today, since AI knows how to read and understand what people actually write, including open text components in your forms is extremely powerful because it provides a lot more context, which means you actually know a lot more, which means you can tailor your offer or whatever it is that you want to know from this form to whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So actually that mix, that combination of prefixed things such as do you have the budget or not? It's a simple yes, no question versus tell me what success looks like for you in 90 days is a great way to build forms in this day and era because it will just tell you a lot more.
Yeah. So the goal of this is to have collect the lead, of course, into our CRM, but also to create a personalized script with full research about the lead, with ready questions about what they put, which is back to your point. If I didn't put good form, I will lose the context. So if I
Yeah.
put a good context, I'll have enough so I can control my conversation on the call and close them easily. So that was the goal. So to go quickly to the workflow, let's go here. So we find your profile, Isar.
Yeah.
So we normalize the website. So for example, I put it here. So if the person put it here, the website, like, I don't know, www, and then website, it's going to be lost and it's going to find. So I put it here, just a second. I put it form. If the HTTPS, okay, put it empty. If start with www, put HTTPS. So
Yeah.
that was really important because they're not going to capture the website if
Yeah.
they doesn't have HTTPS.
Yeah.
So we find your content about your website and etc. etc. We find your recent free post as well. We do AI research about your company. So we have everything here. And now we connect everything together. We use, I don't know, your profile. We have a lot of information here. So these are, let's say, let me go to the script. Yeah. So this is like if I want to have a call with you, Isar. So look what I get from the random suggestions I put. So outreach,
So again, for
it's
those of
collect
you who are
the,
not seeing the screen, what we're looking at a very detailed summary about me because Sabahudin used me as an example when I was filling up the form, but a very detailed background about myself, my history, my company, combined with the information that I put in the form. And now it's giving suggestions on how to actually run the sales call. And now I'll let you kind of like go over that.
Yeah, so look, the micro report. Hey, Isar, great to meet you. How's your week going? I caught a clip from Leverage AI podcast. Your point about moving beyond basic prompts to actual business outcomes landed well. So this telling you, like, I came ready to the
Yeah,
call. I already
yeah,
have something.
yeah,
So I put the agenda plan. Here's the quick plan. Next 25 minutes, I will ask you a few questions to get clear picture about your business. And then these are the questions. What motivated to put this time aside today? You mentioned outreach strategy getting north. This is from the form, right?
yeah,
Because I'm talking to your
yeah,
language.
yeah,
Is that lack of replies? What's the problem? What have you tried so far to fix it? Profile tweaks, content, blah, blah, blah. How long has been this case as well? And what pushes you to tackle now? So these are great sales questions to get enough context, right? And then we want to understand, right? Where are you right now? How you are pricing? What's your current content to call path on LinkedIn? What's working best today? Then we want to indirectly cause the pain. Walk me through your acquisition. Like, where do most conversation originate? DMs, inbound, podcasts, etc. Do you have predictable weekly flow? Look, just to give you the quick context, I'm not gonna read the script on the call,
yeah,
but
yeah.
when I
No, no,
read this
it
output,
helps you be better prepared and have a good direction to go on.
exactly. I basically, if I have a call with you, 30 minutes before the call, I'm going to read this and I'm going to get clear picture.
Yeah,
Most of this, as you can see, it follow the framework.
yeah,
Micro report, agenda, establish primary move, what understand where they are, indirect cause pain, define the goal, get to the prospect to admit defeat. This is also important. So I wanted to admit, like, you have a problem, Isaac. Like, this is obvious.
I have lots of
And then
problems. Trust me, you don't want to
establish.
get me started. This will be a very long podcast if we start talking about my problems.
So we want to establish the conviction and deep emotion. Well, why not just keep posting blah 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 blah? On scale on 1 to 10, how committed are you fixing the LinkedIn call engine this quarter? And then statement and confidence. Now we are jumping to the sales process. We let you talk, Isaac, most of the case. We left 5 to 10 minutes at the end of the call to summarize what you said and then tell you confidently that we can help you regarding your as a
Yeah.
based on everything you shared, ignore outreach, blah, blah, blah. I'm confident I can solve this. Would you like me to walk you through the system we implement to make a LinkedIn predictable source of qualified calls for founder-led firms like Multiplai? And boom, we break down the full process, which is our main part of it. By the way, he using the my offer doc here. So let me go back to the here. As you can see, I have the sales call script template as a knowledge base, that framework that is following, and our offer doc, which is generalistic, but every time it's personalized after that call. We have auto proposal generated for this purpose. But again, that's the core idea. And then it combines, as you can see, your profile, your website, all the questions, AI output from the previous step to be able, to give me this output. Now the next step is to move you to the Notion. So for example, we have this additional sales CRM. The reason why we're using two CRMs, I'm going to be straightforward. HubSpot is for the old people we have calls already. So basically, like, most valuable leads for us.
Yeah.
We have a call, maybe they need another call, maybe are not decision maker, especially if we are closing B2B founders. So we, track everything in the HubSpot. But if the person is the coach, consultants, and everything, I track everything from the sales CRM with all the information they leave it here. Of course, I send the email to my co-founder and myself. Hey, Belmin, I always tell him king of the sales call. I make him motivated before the call. We get the new form submission from our website. Here's the script for the next call, and then he gets the script. I don't know, I didn't put here, but this is the script from this step.
Yeah.
Your co-founder, Saba, and that's it. And this way, in this workflow, as you can see, we combine time. Imagine how much time we're going to spend, figure out what you do. We combine money, right? Because this script can help us a lot to close more deals on sales calls. And we have focus on the call because we read the script before the call. We already have clear picture, and boom, we are super confident to close the call.
Yeah. Awesome. I want to say a very generalized thing that I think will help people understand, and I'm sure your approach is in the same exact way, but these examples just really help frame this. Every business and every process in the business has bottlenecks. These bottlenecks are what slows the business down, right? So in today's call, you saw three great examples. Example number one is, how do I find more qualified leads? Like, where do they come from? If I don't have them, I can't sell because I don't have leads. So that's a bottleneck. Another bottleneck is, once I go on a call with them, what do I do? Like, what do I offer them? What are the main things I need to do? So that solves that problem. A third problem is, okay, let's say they're not ready to buy it. How do I keep them in my ecosystem and nurture them? Oh, I need to send them emails. What am I going to write the emails about? So if you think about your business and you think about right now, just map your bottlenecks. What bottlenecks do I have right now in finance, in accounting, in sales, in marketing, in customer service, in whatever it is that you're doing? Think about what are your biggest bottlenecks, and then use a tool like Relay. And Relay is really great because it's really simple and straightforward, and yet really, really powerful. And you can build a process that maybe doesn't completely solve the bottleneck, but definitely widens the bottleneck. So now you have a higher throughput on an area of a problem, which now makes a different bottleneck the problem. Then go and address that bottleneck. And this way, you can continuously improve the efficiency in your business across everything that you're doing, just by addressing one bottleneck at a time and making sure the throughput
Yes.
through that step of the process is just better. And overall, as you do more and more and more of these, you can just do more business with the same amount of resources you have right now, which means you become more profitable. So these were three incredible examples. And again, those of you who want to test out the exact use cases, Saba was amazingly, you know, positive about offering you the actual templates. You'll be able to go on Relay and click a button and have this and use it on your own. Obviously, you have to update the stories and you have to update the connections and stuff like that. But you'll have the overall entire framework with the really detailed prompts and everything that you can test this out. But for me, the bigger picture is, once you understand this, start thinking about other bottlenecks in your business and what you can do with a tool like this.
Yeah, by the way, quick just context about the templates. For each template, you will get what you need to mention here. This is the great thing about Relay App. You can import the task. Once you import the template, for each of them, you need to change. You also have my referral link for the Tela, for example. You have this newsletter page that you can replicate that template to store. So everything is ready. Like literally,
so
you just need to
basically there's
think
like a
about.
README file. There's like a README file for every one of these telling you exactly what you need to do.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Saba, this was incredible. Like really, really, really fantastic. I'm sure it will be incredibly valuable for people. If people want to work with you, learn from you, follow you, hire you, what what are the best ways to do that?
So I have three main offers. The one offer is done for you as an agency for full eco social selling system on LinkedIn, where we combine commenting, content, and outreach as a one ecosystem to nurture the lead, start more conversation, and book calls for the B2B founders and consultants. The second offer is AI audit call. From that call, we came up with the idea, where's your bottleneck in the business, so I can build the workforce like this for you. The third thing is currently still it's in the progress, but I'm working on my community launch, which should be, I hope so, in February. So yeah, if someone wants to join, most of the use cases will be around the AI sales workflows, not in a automated way 100%, but using AI in a smart way, where you combine your human logic and AI power into the one thing, which I eventually show you in these examples. So yeah, my also next goal for 2026 is to update this with the cloud code infrastructure. I'm sure you are familiar with that. I'm moving all the GPTs, everything I built to the cloud, and that's going to be also part of the community after I launch the first module. The first module will be focused around the social selling, how to build your offer, how to find the leads, how to build your free value resources so you can be ready for the campaigns, how to create those campaigns angles, how to use AI in these steps to make it faster. And eventually, I'm going to show real life examples how I close the deals from 5 to 10K for our agency with nurturing the conversation in DM. So it's going to real practical stuff, no like fluff. I'm the guy who started this 2 years ago. I'm confident I can say I'm still learning this. I never pretend that I'm the expert because especially market is shifting like crazy. So I love to help. I gain a trust. Once I gain a trust, then we can talk about the business. That's way how I approach the business. I give you a lot of stuff for free. You see in this podcast as well. If you find this valuable, I'm sure you're gonna reach out to me and find me. Man, this is great. What we can build together. Boom! I don't need to sell you anything. So
100%.
that's about me, man.
No, thank you. This was really, really awesome. Again, very valuable, very well thought after, and very well executed. And again, there's a lot of stuff for people to learn, either from the details or from the concepts of everything we discussed. So I really appreciate you taking the time and preparing all of this and sharing all of this with us. And as I mentioned, the links are going to be in the show notes for all the stuff that was here in this episode. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate you.